Hi, and welcome. Today, I want to share with you the real journey of a young woman who struggled with panic disorder and how, session by session, she took her life back. This story is based on real events. Some details have been changed to protect privacy. Trigger warning: this video discusses mental health and anxiety attacks. Let's begin. Let's call her Sarah. She's 27 years old, works at a marketing agency, and lives in a large city. Sarah had always been someone who kept a lot of things together. She was driven, smart, and loved her work. But like many of us, she was trying to keep up with everything: the demands of her job, her relationships, and the pressures of city life. Her first panic attack happened 7 months ago during a regular team meeting. Suddenly her chest tightened. Her heart was racing. She thought she was going to faint or even die. She rushed outside, gasping for air, and was taken to the ER. But all her tests came back clear. The doctors said, "It's probably stress." Over the next few weeks, the same thing happened again and again. Every time it was more intense, more frightening. She felt like she was losing control of her own body. Eventually, she became afraid of going to work, commuting, or even being alone. She wasn't just afraid of having an attack, she was afraid of the fear itself. That's when she reached out for help. Before we continue with Sarah's journey, let's talk briefly about what causes panic attacks. From a biological point of view, panic attacks are sudden surges of intense fear, triggered by the brain's fight or flight system. It's the same survival mechanism that helped early humans escape predators. But in modern life, there's often no real danger, just a perceived one. Some people are more vulnerable than others. Genetics play a role. So do childhood experiences. So do perfectionism, overthinking, trauma, or even chronic stress. These factors can create the perfect storm, and for Sarah, that storm began to overwhelm her. When Sarah came to her first session, she was visibly anxious. Her hands were trembling. Her voice was shaky. She kept saying, "I don't know what's wrong with me. I feel broken." It's heartbreaking when someone who once felt in control now feels so lost. And as a therapist, it's my role to remind them that they're not alone in this struggle. During our assessment, it became clear she was suffering from panic disorder. She wasn't just experiencing panic attacks, she was also living with the constant anticipation of another one. That fear was paralyzing her. She felt like she couldn't even trust her own body anymore. It's important to note, panic disorder is not the same as generalized anxiety disorder, GAD. GAD is often about persistent worry over many things: work, health, relationships. Panic disorder, on the other hand, centers around sudden episodes of fear and the fear of their recurrence. Sarah didn't worry about everything all the time. She feared one thing: the next attack. The unpredictability of it, the feeling of losing control. This became her focus. We began with cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. First, I explained what panic attacks actually are: intense but harmless surges of adrenaline. They're not dangerous, but they feel like life-threatening emergencies. We introduced breathing techniques, grounding exercises. Step by step, she started to gain a sense of control. But this process wasn't without its challenges. In the beginning, Sarah was still convinced that every physical sensation was a signal of danger. Each time she felt her heart rate rise or her chest tighten, she feared the worst. Eventually, we moved into exposure therapy. We created a fear hierarchy. For Sarah, it looked like this: riding the elevator alone, taking public transport, going to a shopping mall, leading a team meeting. At first, each step seemed terrifying. Her heart would pound, her hands would sweat. But then, she'd calm down. She realized that each time she faced her fear and didn't run from it, the power it had over her lessened. One session focused only on her triggers. For Sarah, these included crowded spaces, fluorescent lights, loud noises, internal thoughts like, what if I lose control? We mapped out how a single thought could spark a physical reaction. That physical reaction would then trigger another fearful thought, and the cycle began again. This is the nature of panic, a loop, a fear of fear itself. We worked on breaking that loop. With time, she started to recognize the signs of a panic attack before it even happened. And in those moments, she learned to breathe through the fear. By the 5th session, she was practicing breathing exercises without reminders. By the 8th, she had taken the subway by herself twice and felt okay. But recovery isn't linear. There were setbacks. There was the moment when she came in and said, "What if it all comes back again?" That fear of relapse, of losing the progress she had worked so hard for. We worked through that too, challenging catastrophic thoughts, building self-trust, recognizing the voice of anxiety, and separating it from her own. Sarah's case reminded me of something important. Most of the time, we're not afraid of what is, but of what might be. She didn't just learn how to manage symptoms. She learned to redefine what fear meant to her. Instead of avoiding life, she began to live again. Today, Sarah is doing well. She hasn't had a full-blown panic attack in months. But more importantly, she knows that even if she does, she has the tools to handle it. If you saw a part of yourself in this story, you're not alone. Seeking help is not weakness, it's an act of bravery. Please like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more real mental health stories. And remember, healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to who you were before fear took over. Take care.